You notice it before you can name what is wrong. Something about the tank looks different. You get closer, and then you see it. The beard, which this morning was the same pale cream it always is now dark. Not slightly darker. Black. A deep, flat, almost matte black that spreads from the chin down the throat and sometimes further, across the chest, along the sides, in patches that seem to shift and deepen as you watch. The first time you see it, it stops you. It looks dramatic enough to feel like an emergency. The second time, if your dragon does it regularly, you probably tell yourself you understand what it means. Stress, temperature, mood. You have read enough to know that beard darkening is normal, that it happens, that it is just something bearded dragons do. But here is what most owners do not know. The black beard is not one signal. It is at least 6 different signals that happen to use the same color. Each one has a different cause, a different biological mechanism driving it, a different meaning, and in some cases a different urgency level that ranges from completely normal to something that needs a vet appointment within the week. Treating all of them as the same thing, as just the beard doing what beards do, means you are reading your animal at a fraction of the resolution it is actually broadcasting. The color your dragon turns is a sentence. Most owners are reading the first letter and thinking they have read the whole word. Welcome to Reptile Realities. Subscribe before you keep watching, because this channel is about reading your animal accurately, not just recognizing that something is happening, but understanding what it means, why it is happening, and what the right response is. The last section of this video covers a beard darkening pattern that owners consistently dismiss as normal mood variation, and that is one of the most reliable early indicators of a serious internal problem. Stay through the end. Tonight we are going into the full vocabulary of the black beard, what the biology actually is, how chromatophores work, and why that matters for reading the signal, what each distinct darkening pattern means, and how to tell the difference between a dragon that is doing something normal and a dragon that is asking you for help. Number 1, the biology underneath the color, and why it matters that you understand it. The color change in a bearded dragon's skin is not like blushing in a human, not a surface vascular response driven by blood flow close to the skin. It is a direct manipulation of pigment cells called chromatophores, and understanding how they work changes the way you read every color change your dragon makes. Chromatophores are specialized cells distributed through the skin that contain pigment granules. In bearded dragons, the relevant cells for beard darkening are melanophores, which contain melanin, the same dark pigment responsible for dark coloration in mammals, including humans. In a relaxed, thermally comfortable dragon with no active social or threat stimuli, the melanin granules in the melanophores are concentrated at the center of each cell. The pigment is there, but it is clustered and compact, and the skin above it appears pale or its resting color. When the nervous system sends a signal, those granules disperse. They spread throughout the cell, from the center to the edges, dramatically increasing the surface area of dark pigment visible through the skin. The beard goes dark not because new pigment appeared, but because existing pigment rearranged itself in response to a neurological command. The command travels from the brain through the autonomic nervous system, which means the color change is largely involuntary. Your dragon does not decide to turn its beard black the way you decide to raise your hand. The signal goes out, the chromatophores respond, the color changes. The dragon is not performing, it is reacting. This is critical because it means the black beard is always honest. It cannot be faked. It cannot be performed for social effect the way some animal displays can be. Whatever is driving it at the level of the autonomic nervous system, below the level of conscious control. When the beard goes black, something real is happening inside that animal. Your job is to figure out which something. Number 2, thermoregulation darkening, and what it tells you about your enclosure. The most common cause of beard darkening in a well-kept dragon is also the most benign, and it is one that tells you something useful about the thermal environment you have created if you know how to read it correctly. In the morning, many bearded dragons will darken their beard, and sometimes their entire ventral surface, the underside of the body, as part of active thermoregulation. Dark surfaces absorb radiant heat more efficiently than pale surfaces. This is basic physics applied to biology. A dragon that has been cool overnight is a dragon that needs to raise its core body temperature as quickly as possible after the lights come on. And darkening the beard and belly dramatically increases the rate at which it can absorb heat from the basking lamp above. This is normal. This is healthy. This is your dragon, using exactly the physiological tools it evolved to use. A dragon that darkens its beard first thing in the morning and then gradually pales as its body temperature reaches its working range is a dragon with a functional thermoregulatory response and an enclosure that is doing its job. But the pattern of this darkening tells you things about your setup if you pay close attention. A dragon that is still dark-bearded 2 or 3 hours after the lights come on, well into the period when it should have reached its working temperature, is a dragon that is not warming up fast enough. The basking surface temperature may be insufficient. The basking spot may be positioned wrong. The ambient temperature may be pulling heat away faster than the basking lamp can supply it. The dragon is not doing anything wrong. It is trying to compensate for an enclosure that is not delivering the thermal energy it needs. The prolonged dark beard is the signal that the compensation is not working. A probe thermometer on the basking surface, not an ambient reading, an actual surface temperature measurement at the spot where the dragon rests, should read between 100 and 110 degrees Fahrenheit for an adult. If it reads lower than that, the extended morning beard darkening is telling you exactly why. Number 3, the social beard and what it reveals about your dragon's experience of its environment. The black beard, in a social or threat context, looks similar to the thermoregulatory beard, but the circumstances that produce it are entirely different, and the implications for your animal's welfare are significant. When a bearded dragon perceives a threat, a rival, a predator, something large and unfamiliar in or near the enclosure, the autonomic threat response activates, and the beard darkens as part of a display package. In the wild, this display serves 2 functions simultaneously. It makes the animal look larger and more formidable to potential rivals, and it signals to genuine predators that this is not a passive or unaware prey animal, that the cost of attacking may not be worth the benefit. The blackbeard in this context is accompanied by other components of the threat display. Lateral flattening of the body to increase apparent size, an open mouth, forward posture, sometimes a hiss. In captivity, this display fires on whatever the dragon's threat detection system identifies as triggering, another dragon visible through the glass of a neighboring enclosure. A reflection in the tank wall that the animal processes as a rival, a new object introduced into or near the enclosure, an unfamiliar person approaching the tank, a cat or dog passing through the room, the television showing footage of large animals or rapid movement. A dragon that is blackening its beard in response to these stimuli is a dragon whose threat response system is being activated regularly, sometimes chronically. Chronic threat response activation means chronic cortisol elevation. Chronic cortisol elevation means immune suppression, digestive disruption, reduced appetite, and a baseline physiological state that is incompatible with optimal health over the medium and long term. If your dragon's beard goes dark every time you walk past the tank, every time there is movement in the room, every time another animal comes near, the darkening is not just communication. It is a symptom of an enclosure or environment that is keeping the animal in a persistent state of low-grade threat perception. The fix is environmental, repositioning the tank, removing visual triggers, covering portions of the glass, increasing the predictability of human approach so the animal can habituate rather than remaining on permanent alert. Number 4, the dark beard of dominance and what it means during handling. There is a version of the black beard that appears during handling or in direct proximity to you, and it is the version most likely to be misread by owners who have already decided that beard darkening just means the animal is stressed about something general. When a male bearded dragon darkens his beard during handling or when held at eye level with a person, the signal is frequently not fear or general stress. It is a dominance display directed at you specifically. The dragon has assessed you, found you to be a rival of roughly comparable or uncertain status, and is displaying. This is different from the submission wave we have discussed in other videos. The wave says, "I am smaller than you, and I acknowledge it." The dark beard held high says, "I am not sure you are larger than me, and I am willing to make that case." This behavior is most common in sexually mature males, particularly during the spring months when reproductive hormones are elevated. The same hormonal state that drives territorial behavior in the wild drives this display in captivity. directed at whatever the male's social perception system has identified as the most relevant social presence in its environment. Understanding this changes how you handle a bearded dragon displaying a dark beard at you during a session. It is not asking to be put down, not necessarily. It is engaging with you socially, in the way its biology has prepared it to engage with rivals. Calm, slow, non-reactive handling that does not mirror or escalate the display usually results in the beard fading as the interaction continues and the dragon's assessment updates. You did not respond like a rival responds. The display was unnecessary. The beard pales. Reactive handling, pulling back, making sudden movements, making eye contact in a way the animal reads as challenge, escalates the display and confirms the dragon's assessment that it is in a social confrontation. How you respond to the dark beard during handling is itself a communication, and the dragon is reading it. Number 5. The dark beard, that is not a signal, but a symptom. This is what I told you to stay for. This is the pattern that vets who specialize in reptiles see regularly, and that owners almost always report having noticed for weeks or months before bringing the animal in, having dismissed it as normal mood variation. There are several internal medical conditions in bearded dragons that produce beard darkening as one of their earliest and most consistent outward signs. The darkening in these cases is not driven by the normal social or thermoregulatory signaling pathways. It is driven by the autonomic stress response being chronically activated by internal physiological distress, the body registering something wrong, and the nervous system broadcasting that registration through the same chromatophore pathway that social and thermal signals use. Internal parasitic infection is one of the most common. A dragon with a significant internal parasite burden is mounting a chronic immune response, running a low-grade internal emergency around the clock. The autonomic nervous system, which is intimately connected to immune function, stays in a state of activation. The beard reflects that activation. The dragon is not responding to anything in the environment. It is responding to something inside its own body, and the beard is the only way that response becomes visible to you. Early liver disease, which occurs in bearded dragons fed high-fat diets or with chronically poor husbandry, produces a similar pattern. The liver is under metabolic stress. The animal's physiology is compensating for reduced hepatic function. The chronic internal stress activates the autonomic system, and the beard stays dark or darkens more readily and more deeply than it should. Reproductive problems in female dragons, including follicular stasis, the condition where follicles develop but fail to be properly reabsorbed or laid, produce sustained hormonal and physiological stress that expresses through persistent beard darkening alongside lethargy, reduced appetite, and postural changes. The signal that distinguishes medical beard darkening from behavioral or thermoregulatory beard darkening is persistence and context independence. A dragon whose beard darkens in the morning and fades by midday is thermoregulating. A dragon whose beard darkens in social situations and fades when the trigger is removed is signaling. A dragon whose beard is dark across a wide range of contexts and times of day, that stays dark after basking when it should have warmed up fully, that darkens without any obvious environmental trigger, that seems darker in general than it used to be, is showing you a beard that is being driven by something internal. The accompanying signs to watch for: weight loss that is gradual enough to miss without regular weighing, a shift in stool frequency or consistency, reduced engagement with food, even when the food is correct and presented correctly, more time spent in the cool end of the enclosure rather than at the basking spot, a general decrease in the alertness and responsiveness that characterize a healthy, comfortable dragon. Any combination of persistent beard darkening and these secondary signs is a combination that warrants a fecal test and a vet visit, not a wait-and-see approach, not an adjustment to diet or husbandry, while the underlying cause continues. The beard went dark to tell you something was wrong. It has been telling you that, in some cases, for a long time. The black beard is your dragon's most visible language. It runs on biology that is involuntary and honest. It speaks about temperature and rivals and fear and dominance and internal distress with the same instrument, and the only way to hear what it is actually saying is to learn to read the context around the color, not just the color itself. Your dragon cannot knock on a door and tell you it does not feel right. It cannot describe the discomfort or point to where something hurts. It can darken its beard. It has been doing that since long before you brought it home. since long before any human brought any bearded dragon home, in the interior of a continent where the signals it was sending mattered for survival. Now you know how to hear them. Tell me in the comments when your dragon's beard goes darkest, and what is usually happening in the environment when it does. Morning, during handling, around other animals, seemingly out of nowhere. Tell me the pattern, and let us figure out together what your animal is actually communicating. I read every one. See you in the next video.